And we are going to be going live in a minute. So this is our very last like hangout for the challenge. And I just want to make sure that other folks can see us.
Where do people at though?
They're coming. They always come.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is
If
our.
you build it.
So what we want from you guys is, if you have any questions, we're going to go through the Live Richer Challenge today. And this is our last week. Hey, good, they can see us. Perfect. This is our last week. Yeah, here they come in. So as you come in, dream catchers, whether you're watching live on Facebook or whether you're watching live in our Google Hangout, Mandy is back. You guys love Mandy. Can you hear us? Can you hear us, one, in the Facebook group? And I know you guys on the live Hangout, on the Google Hangout can hear us. I want to make sure the Facebook group people can hear us, because we're going to go over the last week of the Live Richer Challenge and kind of like what the next steps are now that you've done the credit edition, and what you can do to make sure that you keep up with the credit edition. You're watching via YouTube? So yes, who is watching? I can hear you, perfect. Are we in the group? Group folks, like Delise, if you can let us know, are we in the Dreamcatcher Facebook group?
Did I pick the wrong one?
I don't know, because remember you went back out? No, in the Facebook group. I know you guys were on the YouTube page, but I want to know. Yes, you are. Okay, perfect. All right, so people are going to come on in. Yes, here they come. He can hear you. Any update on the event in Atlanta? So Chastity, we're going to go over that. Well, I'll just give you the update. There you go. You can pin it. Well, you can't pin it because you're not me. I cannot. Yeah, so the update is the Atlanta Dreamcatchers are going to do the heavy legwork for me. I think they found a space, and so I'll be able to give you more of an update tomorrow. So welcome to the last chat of a Live Richer Challenge Credit Edition.
I'm so sad it's over.
I know. And so we're going to go for the week like we always do. I'm going to go directly from our Live Richer Challenge book. Every link that we chat about it's in the description of these videos. And so one, remember the Live Richer Challenge is sponsored by
Magnify Money.
Mandy works for Magnify Money. And Magnify Money is our dope, awesome sponsor. And they are the reason why the Live Richer Challenge was FREE, free.
$3.99.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Yes, because they're so dope and so amazing. And I've been rocking with them for years. And so when they reached out to me this year and said, hey, we want to sponsor, I was like, perfect alignment. So that's one. Oh wait, our head is like short.
Thank you.
Yes. And then two,
thank you, Miss Jessie.
This is really important. So I have something called the Live Richer Academy. So the purpose of the Live Richer Academy is to help you take your finances and your life to the next level. So the Live Richer, you as a dream catcher, you learn the basics with me, right? And it's always free, meaning you learn how to budget, save, basic credit stuff, debt stuff, right? The Live Richer Academy, it's next level, like stocks, home buying, real estate investing, really next level stuff. And so I started the Academy because I wanted to have other folks who were smarter than me teach you the next level, So the Dreamcatcher group and the Live Richer Challenge is always like the prerequisite to the rest of your financial life. So the Academy is not free, but it's always really affordable. I forget how much it's going to be now, but it's like a few bucks a month. It's a subscription. And so what I want to know is we already have some amazing classes inside the Academy. We have about 3,000 or 4,000 students already inside the Academy. We have not opened our doors for like a year almost, but I want to know, what lessons would you want to learn about inside the Academy? Like, what, beyond the basic stuff that you learned during the Live Richer Challenge, what other things? I'll give you an example. The Live Richer Academy, every Sunday, we have something called Ask the Expert. And I find a dope expert based upon what the Academy members want to learn about. I go out and I find an amazing expert, and that expert does a live Q&A with the Academy members only. It's private. You don't know about it if you're not an Academy member. And then on top of that, every quarter, every 4 months, every 3 months, we have something called an intensive. An intensive is like similar to the Live Richer Challenge, but it's next level. So our first intensive was how to buy your first stock. And it's delivered like the challenge in that it's 22 days of step-by-step guidance of how to do something that's next level in your financial life. So for 22 days, they learned step-by-step how to buy stock. We showed you how to open up a brokerage account, how to analyze the stock, how to purchase it. So it was amazing. So the way you can give us your feedback is, it's great that you're giving it to us inside the comments, but there's a link. So do this afterwards, but there's a link in the description of this video where I'm asking you for, it's a survey link, and literally I list all of these potential classes, and I ask you if it's not listed there to add your own. So I want you to click that survey link. It's 2 questions. What do you want to learn? And if it's not there, type it in. That's it. So that's what
stocks. People want to know stocks.
Yeah, I see that. So I want you, so that's for the Live Richer Academy, because we're going to be opening up the Live Richer Academy doors next month. And when we open them, I want to make sure that the type of things you want to learn about are available. So the good thing is that even though the Academy doors are not open, there is a wait list. So if you do the survey, the great thing is you're going to be added to that VIP wait list. And what that means is when the Academy opens its doors, we always bump up the price after like the first 24 to 48 hours, but you're going to get that whatever the low price is currently. All right, so let's get down to brass tacks.
Love it.
So this is week 3 of the Live Richer Challenge of last week. So week 3 is all about credit maintenance. Week 1 we did
credit knowledge.
Week 2 we did
credit improvement.
And week 3 is
credit maintenance.
So let's go over like what the tasks were. So the first task was the difference between a hard and soft inquiry. Mandy, what is the difference between a hard and soft inquiry?
It's kind of like dating, where I would say a hard inquiry is when someone tries to holler on the street and they're really offensive to you. A hard inquiry is when you ask a credit company to lend you credit. It's just saying, hey, can I even get approved? Mm-hmm. And what that does is they send a signal to the credit agency saying, hey, Mandy Woodruff asked to take out credit. Mm-hmm. And it can impact your credit score because it matters to other lenders how often you're asking for credit.
Exactly.
If you ask for credit too often in too short of a time period, it tells them that this person may not be using credit necessarily safely or securely, or they may not be able to pay back their credit card, so they're taking on more and more credit. A soft inquiry is kind of like when you're just Facebook stalking someone instead of just trying to holler in person. Yeah. It's when you flirt with the lender. It's when you can do things like get pre-qualified for credit, where you just give them a little bit of information, and based on that, they can tell you if you have a good chance or not to get credit. Yeah.
So it doesn't go against your credit score in a negative way. Typically, you can tell you did a hard inquiry, right? If they ask for your social security number.
Yeah, if they're asking for your social, then that's a hard inquiry. It's gonna be a hard inquiry for sure.
And the reason why there's a difference is because hard inquiries will actually bring down your score potentially, right? Mm-hmm. So you want to be mindful that unless you're really going for something that you really want, not allowing yourself to lose credit score points for like opening up a retail card. It's not worth it. Save it when you want to get a house, a car, and things that you really want to purchase.
And right? One quick thing to note is that people sometimes are afraid to shop around for loans because they think if I'm trying to shop around for a mortgage, every time I go to different banks, it's going to be a hard inquiry on my credit. That's not exactly true. In fact, the way that it's set up is that if you're shopping around for a mortgage loan or a car loan within 30 to 45 day window, those should only count as one inquiry on your credit. And they do that to be fair, because it's smart for you to want to shop around and get the best deal on your loan. So that kind of takes away the penalty factor. So don't be afraid to shop around for a mortgage or an auto loan, because you need to shop around to get the best rate.
Exactly.
And don't worry about it, being a bunch of dings on your credit. It should just be one. And I think last week someone said that theirs had turned up as more than one on their report. If that's the case, dispute it directly with each of the 3 credit bureaus. And get it taken off, because it should have come up as one.
And honestly, disputing, we showed you how to dispute on, I believe, day 8 of the challenge. It's credit score cleanup or credit report cleanup. So we give you exactly how to dispute it. I think we even gave you like a letter, so you're not alone. So that was day 15. Day 16 was your credit mix. So what that basically is what percentage of your, is it 15% of your credit score?
I think it's
10%. I have like old lady brain.
There's a great infographic. Didn't we make an infographic?
We did. Meanwhile, look at us. We're like 10, 15. A small percent of your credit score, it's either 10 or 15, is what types of credit do you have? So meaning like, oh, I've got a student loan. So let's name some types of credit.
There's non-revolving and there's revolving. Those are the main ones. So non-revolving is something like an auto loan or a mortgage, where you take out one loan and that's it. You're not continuing to borrow. Revolving, so non-revolving debt, sometimes it's called good debt, because it won't drag your score down as much as like revolving debt, which is like a credit card, any type of credit. So it's good to show the lenders that you have a different kind of mix. So a student loan, a mortgage loan, a car loan,
Yeah.
and then some credit card debt.
But we don't want you to go out and think to yourself, I feel like Mandy, that can't see you get close, Bill.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you don't want to go take out a bunch of credit.
You don't need to
improve your mix. Focus more on making on-time payments.
But we just want you to know that that is something that they look at, but it is definitely not the critical thing. Like, oh, Mandy doesn't have 20 credit cards. Where she has terrible credit.
I only have credit on my student loans. Just dropped off my credit report recently. I only have credit cards. And no car loan. I don't have a mortgage, and my credit score is in the high 700s, so it doesn't.
Exactly.
I'm not worried about it.
Exactly. Yeah. So that day 15, we did day 16, day 17, right here in this book, available on Amazon.com. For those of you who asked about the survey for the Live Richer Academy, it's in the description of the video. Like if you look on YouTube, it's in the description. If you look on Facebook, if you're watching there, it's in the description of the actual video. So you can click. It's just 2 questions. That's where it is. And like I said, it'll automatically take you to add you to the VIP wait list, so you don't have to wait. All right, so day 17.
You're short-circuiting.
I was wrong. Lower your interest rates.
Spinning wheel.
Yes, exactly. So lower your interest rate. So what we taught you on that day is why it's important to lower your interest rate, because your interest rate basically is how much money are they charging you to borrow money, right? So if you get a car and the car note is, I don't know, $50,000, and your interest rate is, right? It's 10%. You are paying 10% to borrow that $50,000. I know people whose interest rate on their car is less than 2%. That's huge. That's a huge difference. So on day 17, we taught you how to lower your interest rate. And I'll just give you one tip. Like, you can actually call if your credit score is decent. You can call and ask about lowering your interest rate. But I think Magnify Money, not even I know, they have those balance transfer cards. So that was something we taught you too. So talk a little bit more about that.
Balance transfers are one of the most amazing secrets and underused products, I would say. So a balance transfer is when you consolidate. You have 1 or 2 or 3 different credit cards, and all of them at different interest rates. Some of them are pretty high, and you're overwhelmed making your payments on time. You can do a balance transfer, which is when you take 1 or more debts and transfer them to one new credit card with one single interest rate instead of having more than one. You can do it with 1 or 2 or 3. You have to have really good credit, not really good, but decent credit to have a good shot at getting a balance transfer. And the key is to look for a 0% interest balance transfer offer out there, which you can find if you go to magnifymoney.com and look at our balance transfer tool. We have all the offers there that you can see if you qualify for those. And with 0%, that means that you can go from having like a 12% or 20% credit card, transfer it to a card with 0%, and then you're buying yourself time to pay it off without continuously working against interest. Because how many of you guys are paying credit off and you feel like, I pay $25 and then I get charged like 50 in interest, and you can't get ahead of it.
You can't get ahead of it.
So that's the key with the balance transfer.
And that was day 17.
Yep.
Day 18, relationships and credit. This was like really interesting. I got a lot of great messages because we really talked about so I see you, JB. JB said in day 18, I said, remove yourself from being an authorized user. No, that's not what I said. I said, remove yourself as a co-signer, and you can remove authorized users from your credit card. So this is, I want you to become an authorized user on someone's account if you need the help, but you can also remove people as authorized users if you have given them the card and they're being irresponsible. Because remember, this is what I said about one of the ways, like a quick kind of trick to raise your credit score, right? So JB, so let's just say, for example, JB, that you add yourself, you say, hey, grandma, can I be an authorized user on your account? Grandma should not give you a card. Instead, when grandma uses her card, it will look like both of you are using the card responsibly. If grandma, let's just say you're the grandma and you add your grandson or granddaughter onto your card and you've issued them a card, because technically an authorized user is authorized to use that card. So day 18, what I said was take them off, because if they're using your card irresponsibly, then both of you look like you're using it irresponsibly. So the benefit of an authorized user really works best when the person who's responsible is the only one using it. See what I mean? Hope I explained that. So day 18 was all about how to respond to family and friends who want you to co-sign with them or who are taking advantage of your credit. So we went, I think even the day, what I love about day 18, and Nativa has been so awesome about this. So Nativa, the Frugal Creditnista, she was like our education sponsor. And so Nativa created these really great scripts to kind of go over with folks who are asking you to co-sign or asking to use your credit card. So these are great tips. And so day 18 was really, what I liked about day 18, that it wasn't all this technical stuff we've been talking about. It really dealt with the emotional. How do I tell family and friends no? And how do I kind of like remove myself? Like I thought it was amazing that, Nativa really helped to break down how do you remove yourself as a co-signer? Because I know a lot of people think that you can't. You can. I'm not going to tell you how, because you need to do day 18. All right, so that was day 18. And the last real day was day 19, scams and fraud. Yeah, so kind of like how do you avoid scams and fraud? And that was what day 19 was all about. I'm scrolling.
It's really hard to avoid that stuff.
Yes. So honestly, the best way to avoid credit scams and fraud is identity theft protection. That there are some, like, let's just say you're like, I don't have any extra money. So Credit Sesame, what I like about them, not so much their score. What I like about Credit Sesame is that when you sign up for Credit Sesame, and the link is in that day 19 that we asked you to use, is because Credit Sesame will issue you $50,000 of ID theft protection. Well, not protection. Will offer you up to $50,000 should someone steal your identity and you're a Credit Sesame user, which is a free account that you sign up for. And so I don't know why they don't make more of a big deal out of it. I'm like, honestly, I feel like everybody gives away free credit scores that are like, yeah, but like.
Well, it's a pretty safe bet for them, because if you use your credit card and, someone steals your credit, it's happened to everyone probably. You get a phone call from the bank saying, hey, someone in Tucson went to the movies with your card.
Yeah.
Your credit card company usually will have your back. There's $0 fraud liability. As a perk, I think, on every major credit card.
For the most part, yep.
So you should be okay. It's really where you really get in trouble is if you use a debit card. So the debit card, your bank could say they'll only cover you up to a certain dollar amount, or they could take your card and go to the hospital and get medical services under your name and rack up a huge medical bill. So I think in general, if you use your credit card, that's one way to prevent fraud.
Yeah. So
it's gonna be good if you get stuck with a bunch of debt.
Exactly.
Using your debit card.
And you're right. It's like, especially if, like, let's just say you're going to buy a vacation from Groupon or something online. I always use my credit card because I want to be protected should something happen. Oh, so look at Kenya said, she said, I love these weekly recaps. We love them too. In case you like, let's show them our special mic so they can see. Me and Manny been in here forever, y'all, because this is what we do. Look, you see the special mic? We tape our podcast, our weekly podcast.
You heard of Brown Ambition?
Yeah, have you? So it's an awesome podcast.
Brown Ambition. Yeah.
It's an awesome podcast that we tape together. It's really great if you have not listened to it.
This makes us look official.
It does. I think we're gonna leave it there. Actually, this actually might look a little weird. And I'm like, wait, the symbolism. So
you took it there, not me. It's Sunday.
So Brown Ambition, if you go to brownambitionpodcast.com, you can listen. It's just fun,
It's a weekly podcast.
Yes.
We talk about relationships, but mostly money, career. We had an awesome guest on today talking about payday lenders and check cashing and the banking industry. We have guests on sometimes, but mostly Tiffany and I answer questions from listeners on, whatever money or career questions you might have. And we just talk about the kind of things that everyone talks about with their girlfriends, but with a little touch of money and career advice mixed in.
It's called Brown Ambition, Brandy.
Can you pull it up on your phone so I can show them the logo?
Yeah. So Brown Ambition, like just think to yourself, Brown, because we're brown.
And you can like us on Facebook and just go to iTunes and subscribe. It's just once a week.
Yeah.
On Tuesdays, we go live in the morning, super early for commuters. It's a fun show to listen to, like on your way to work. And we take questions. Like I said, you can go to brownambitionpodcast.com, leave us a question there.
So I'm going to show you what it looks like on our own. See, this be us, Brown Ambition.
My hair looked a little different.
I know, right? I look like Manny, hair so straight. My hair, meanwhile, always looks the same.
That was before.
Yes, go to iTunes and leave a good review. Yes, Stephanie, you better do that.
Please, thank you. Thank you for, I was like, blah, blah, blah. Yes, reviews. Reviews are very important.
Yes.
Please, if you sign up, go to iTunes. You don't have to even subscribe, but that would be nice if you did that too. Leave us a review because we need them in order for iTunes to show us love.
Yes.
So if you love the show and you listen.
Or if you love these weekly recaps, because after this, that's it. The challenge is done.
Yeah, do you want more of this?
Yes. Hello.
There's only one place to find it. Ambition Podcast. Tiffany is not a hugger. I like to hug her whenever I can.
I'm literally, I'm like,
she's very tense right now.
See, look at The phone sensed it. So
someone's actually, it's nope, that's not the. It's brownambitionpodcast.com. But thank you for trying.
Yeah, brownambitionpodcast.com.
Yep.
So day 20 was just review, reflect, relax. That's when we kind of give you the day off to kind of like get back on track. And day 21 is today. And today is just about weekly inspiration. So we're going to take your questions in a minute because, you know, I like to go over the week with you and then we take your questions. And tomorrow is the last day of the challenge. The last day. And what that means is tomorrow's all about living richer. So tomorrow, what I go over with you tomorrow, actually, let me take a look inside the book available on Amazon.
Answer that question, Jennifer. I got you, girl. We're going to talk about that.
So the last day of the challenge is all about, so basically, I want you to write down the steps that you've taken thus far. This is what the last day is going to be about, to increase your credit score. So basically, I want you to reflect on day 1, which was all of your goals, and then kind of chart your progress toward increasing your credit score. Like, what are you going to use your credit for? You know, credit is not just for credit's sake. If you want to buy a car, a house, you know, do you want to lower your interest rates? So because I don't want us to just be technically changing our lives. It's like, now that we are taking control of our credit, how are we going to use it to live a richer life? You see that full circle? See what I did there?
Credit is power.
Yes, it is.
Good credit's power.
So now it's Q&A. We have about like 10, 15 minutes of Q&A time. So let's look at some of these questions. I feel you on that hug, like, right? PR, PV. I'm not a hugger.
It's okay, like extra cuddly. Just real quick, someone asked if there is such thing as student loan forgiveness companies. She said, I get so many calls about these things.
Yeah.
If anyone calls you and says, or you see a Facebook ad or something on Google that says, there's a new government program, a President Obama student loan forgiveness program, you know, it's going to be great. We're going to get all your debt forgiven. Yeah. That is some B to the S.
Yeah.
Here's what is real. You can, if you sign up for one of the several income-driven repayment plans, after a repayment term, which lasts anywhere from 10 to 25 years, you become eligible to have the rest of your debt forgiven. There's another way too, if you qualify for public student loan forgiveness. That's if you work in the public sector or for a nonprofit. If you make 120 consecutive payments on time, you can qualify for public student loan forgiveness. We have a lot of information on that on Magnify Money. Another really good source is studentaid.ed.gov. Make sure. Yeah, studentaid.ed.gov. It's like the Wikipedia, but like even better. It's a government-run website. All the information you need is there. You can also just call your student loan company and ask them to enroll you in an income-driven payment plan. Yeah. But if it sounds too good to be true, it's not. It's not. It's a lie. And they're going to try, and some of them charge you money. Yeah. So if it's not on the federal government's website, it's not real. So you just have to. Real. Well, I want to be careful of, because some of them are real. Yes. I mean, they will apply for you to be enrolled in an income-driven repayment plan. But you can do that yourself. Yeah. And you do it once. You don't have to do it every single month. Some of them charge like $30 or $50 a month. You don't need to. Or like $500 all at once, and all you have to do is make a phone call. And you can do it yourself. So some of you are asking just basic challenge questions like, am I going to repeat the challenge? So the awesome part about the challenge is in January, we collectively do it together. So that's why we're live. And then what happens is anytime after the first week, whenever you go to Live or LRC for Live Richer Challenge, LRCcredit.com, anytime afterward, then it's automatic, meaning that like if you were to sign up at LRCcredit.com, you're gonna get day 1 tomorrow, then day 2 the next day. So I created the challenge in a way that, one, if you wanted to do it collectively, it's kind of like our New Year, New Me, but you could do the challenge in October, in November. You could do the challenge 5 years from now. This is our 3rd challenge, and all of the challenges are available at LiveRicherChallenge.com. We've got a savings edition. We've got the fundamentals that cover like everything. So you can pick a challenge that you want to do. Every year we pick a theme. This year's theme is credit. So yeah, just know that the challenge is, somebody said, well, what do we do now? The Dreamcatcher group, if you're in our Facebook group, if you haven't joined, you should. The Dreamcatcher group, Dreamcatchers Live Richer on Facebook, we're always talking about, we don't just talk about the challenge, we're always working toward our better financial lives. And the next level up, honestly, after the challenge is the Academy. Is like, sounds so official. It is. Honestly, what I love about the Academy is that it really is the next level of your financial life. And like I said, I want to know what classes you want to take inside the Academy, the Live Richer Academy. The survey, the link to the survey is in the description of this video. So you just go to the video description. You'll find the survey there where you can tell me what do you want to learn about, so I can find awesome people to teach it for you. All right, so let's go back to some questions.
Veer, what challenge do I suggest you doing first? It depends. Go to livericherchallenge.com and go to sign up, click the sign up button, and you'll see them 3 listed. And you'll see, do I need to save? Do I need credit? If you're not sure, just do the fundamentals. All right.
I want to know if you can dispute hospital bills.
You could.
Yes. The answer is yes. I mean, and you should. If you go to the hospital, this happens. It's kind of scary. You can go in, like say you get a concussion, you're knocked out.
Yeah.
You go to the hospital and they need to treat you, ready to save your life. But the doctor they choose isn't in your network. That's not your fault. You didn't have time to shop around for a doctor in your network. You should absolutely dispute those types of things. And if they won't forgive the bill, the whole thing, you can always negotiate it down.
Yeah.
My little brother has, real lesson from him is he chose like the cheapest health plan that his company offers, and it had the highest deductible. So he had health plan coverage after he spent like $5,000 in a single year. So every time he's had to go to the doctor, he's ended up paying hundreds of dollars.
Wow.
The concussion, he had a concussion. He was at a concert. Someone kicked him in the head by accident. It was like it was a good show. Anyway, he had to dispute his bill with the hospital, and they ended up negotiating it down to like a fraction of what that was. So now if it's like medical debt, like if you've gone delinquent, you still should call the hospital so long as it's still with the hospital. And try to negotiate.
And typically what I find with hospitals is that they keep it a little longer. Let's just say you owe Sears, right? And Sears will typically write off 30 to 60 days. They'll write it off and sell it to a debt collector. That means Sears no longer owns it. Bobby, the debt collector, does. What I've seen mostly with hospitals is that it takes longer for it to escalate to a debt collector, that hospitals usually have in-house collectors. So you usually have a little bit more time, meaning if you're like, oh my gosh, I haven't paid and it's been a month or 2 months or whatever, the hospital likely still owns it, which means that you can call them and work it out with them, because once someone else has bought it, someone else owns it. It's like, my Toyota, I bought it secondhand. I can't go to the Toyota, factory and be like, hey, I want to pay less. No, it's the person that I bought it from that currently owns it. All right, so let's see. Yeah, so like, you guys are asking about Atlanta. We're gonna talk about that like offline.
This person wants to know how long a late payment affects your credit life or credit file.
So it is most effective the sooner that it happens. So anything that's 2 years old or younger is having the biggest effect on your credit. So meaning that think about it like this way. Let's just say you want to borrow my car and I asked you, when's the last time you were in a car accident? And you told me last week. Girl, you ain't driving my car. If you told me 4 years ago, I'm like, oh, well, that was a while ago. You see that when you've made a mistake, the newer the mistake, the bigger, the more impact it has on my decision. Same thing with your credit. If you've made a mistake 6 months ago, it has an impact on your credit more so than a mistake you've made with your credit 7 years ago, 6 years ago, whatever. So really, anything that you've done recently, that's going to have the biggest. And usually the 2-year mark is really when it really has an impact at all. Anything over 2 years, it doesn't mean there's no impact, but it's not nearly, it's like a little beep in compared to everything else that's been happening. Ooh, so somebody said, what? Go ahead. Ooh, look at this person. They said,
this person got a call from a debt collector. Leilani. Oh, I had a friend named Leilani.
That's a pretty name.
It's Hawaiian. Can I read her?
Yeah. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
I got a call from a collection agency regarding a 2004 debt. They claim the debt continues to exist. It's not on my current credit report. Should I pay this bill? No! Once the more recent bills are paid. We just had this conversation earlier.
We did.
And this can happen. Debt collectors can still try to go after you. I mean, technically you owe the debt. I would check your state though. Different states have different laws in terms of how long companies have to seek legal action against you, like sue you for unpaid debts. It could be likely that this debt has already passed that limit, so they don't have any legal recourse. So really, if you pay them, you're getting that, like getting it off your conscience because you do owe them money, and you're doing them a favor because they're making money off of this debt. But absolutely, if you have debts that are newer than that, you should focus on those first and forget this debt. And don't let them bully you and just ask, what they'll say, just make a $5, just make a $25 payment today. Do you know what happens then is if your statute of limitations has run out, you make even a $1 payment and it restarts the clock. So if you waited 10 years and that thing finally fell off your report and it also expired under the law, you'll restart that clock, which means they can come after you and try to sue you for it. So really think twice before you believe them when they say, just make a quick payment today and I'll get off your back.
Yeah.
Because it's probably not true.
It's not true. So question. Oh, so Tiffany G. Okay, yeah, the Academy is going to be opening again in February, early March. So just stay tuned for that. But before we do that, that's why I want to know if one, I want you to get on the VIP wait list and click the survey link. It's only 2 questions to tell me what you want to learn about. And then it'll add you to the VIP wait list at the end. So, all right, giving them free money. Oh, wow, I didn't know that. Can tax liens be removed once you file your taxes? Yeah. So you have to remember this about your credit. Your credit report is like your report card. What happens if you got a D in math freshman year of college and you're a senior and you have an A in math? Does that D freshman year get erased? No, it gets averaged with your current grades, right? So sometimes people think with your credit, it's just because they're getting good grades now in their credit that it means that the old bad grades should disappear. That's not what happened. Now you could dispute and you could try to get them removed, but technically whatever it is that you've done, it's still relevant, meaning like it's supposed to show a holistic picture of the choices that you've made. So like I said, sometimes you could dispute and things can come off, but and there's some.
It happened. If it happened, it happened.
It happened, basically. Let's see. Let me see some questions.
And I saw some questions about Self, which is a company that helps you build your score. So I just posted a link to a review that Magnify Money did on that.
Okay, let's see. New York has a chapter. Oh yeah, so the chapters, we haven't really launched it, and I'm gonna do probably a video on it. But yeah, so for those of you who are like, I wanna meet my dream catchers in person, like for example, I'm coming to Atlanta in a week. So we have created, and we've been working on this for a year, me and the admins of the other chapters, something called the Dream Catcher chapter. So we are the mother Dream Catcher group, right? So if you're a dream catcher, that's anyone who's doing the challenge or getting financial advice and help from me under the Budgetnista brand. And if you're especially if you're in our Facebook group. So now we have something called Dream Catcher chapters, and many of you have already been a member of a chapter for a year or more. So what those are is that there are regional local groups that they have their own Facebook page, but that's not what makes them special. What makes them special is that they meet in person. That is the purpose of the Dream Catcher chapters, is to take all this goodness online and make sure that you have a personal connection to get the help that you need, but in person with people who are like-minded like you. So here's how you find the Dream Catcher chapter in your area. Go to livericherchallenge.com. There's a tab that says Dream Catcher chapters. livericherchallenge.com, and there's a tab that says Dream Catcher chapters, and you're gonna see all of the official chapters on there. If for whatever reason you're like, I'm in the chapter and it's not officially on here, hit up your admin. They need to reach out to us so that way they can become an official chapter, because we don't know all the chapters and stuff that are out there. So these are the ones that reached out to us and we've officialized them. So there's some guidelines that are there. If you don't see your chapter listed, you want to start one. There's actually a chapter application that you can fill out. We have a national leader. Her name is Tamika Murray. She's amazing. And we have a vice president, Karen, I forget your last name. But they've been amazing. So they've been basically running the Dream Catcher chapters on my behalf, and they've been doing a great job. And I want you guys to meet in person. Like some chapters meet every month, some chapters meet quarterly, some chapters meet, I don't know. But they meet, that's what's important. All right, so let's see.
Somebody asked, Kenya had a question about when I was talking about statute of limitations. She wanted to know, does the statute of limitations in the state where the debt came from apply? Like if you're living in Atlanta, does Georgia state statute rules apply to that debt if you took out a credit card there? And if you move to California, does a California law apply? And it's like a hard question to answer.
Yeah.
If the debt, so if you say you took out a loan or a credit card with Macy's in Atlanta and then you moved to California, Macy's as a company, if they're going to sue you, sometimes the courts will allow them to choose which state they want to sue you in, and they're going to choose the state's laws that are more
beneficial to them.
Yeah, beneficial to them. I mean, in your defense, you could ask it to be the state where you live or the state where the debt came from, whichever one you want. You can sort of like levy a defense and ask for that, but it really depends on the court. And I would say, consult an attorney if you're going to try and fight that.
Yeah. So Natrita, as you ask, any advice after filing Chapter 7 bankruptcy? Yes, actually, if you go to the Budgetnista blog, I have this whole 3 things that you should do after filing bankruptcy. One of them is that, once you're kind of cleared, going for possibly a secured card, Magnify Money has a like a button on their website where you can look for the best secured card for you. And the whole purpose of secured card literally is to help you grow your credit. A secured card is not for you to get fancy with. It's not like a typical credit card, because the way a secured card works is that you secure that card with your own money. Typically it's like what, $500 to $600, right?
Yeah.
So let's just say, so the bank, you go to like, whatever secured card you choose at Magnify Money, they're going to ask you for $500. They're going to put that money into a savings account or a money market account for you. They're going to issue you a card, and that card's limit is going to be that $500, and you're going to swipe and pay and swipe and pay. What I tell people to do is just to put something automatic on it, like Netflix, right? And I tell people, put something really small and let that card be paid off every month in full from your bank account. So you tell your bank account, hey, automate an $8 payment, $8 payment to that card every month. And do that, and you do that for a year, you're going to really start to see your credit score grow. But if you go to thebudgetnistablog.com and type in bankruptcy, I have other things that you can do post-bankruptcy. There was another question. Go ahead.
Someone asked a good question about, I think the gist of it was that her husband, the auto loan that her husband took out is under his name. Now her credit is better. She wants to know if she can get it in her name. The only way to do that is if you refinance the loan and then you put yourself on the loan. So I don't know if you guys are still together or whatever, but that's how you do that.
Yeah. My credit has not increased, but I paid. Ooh, Regina, for what?
Maybe she paid off a debt.
Okay, well, Regina, I see you paid $1,300, but for what? I hope not to a person.
Yeah, hopefully that means. I mean, it'll take a while for the improvement to show up on your credit.
Yes.
I mean, banks only report like every 30 to 45 days.
And honestly, too, Regina, you have to know this, that like that. And I gave this example last week that when it comes to credit, it's almost like this. Regina, that's an A. If you paid off $1,300 in debt, you got an A. Let's just say I also got an A today, because I paid off a credit card. But think about how it works when it comes to grades. That if I was a B+ student, that A might tip me. That new A of paying off debt might tip me into an A. Let's just say you were a D- student. That A might tip you to a C. You see what I mean? Meaning that like whenever you do right by your credit, it's added into your average of choices. Like one grade does not mean that is your new credit score, it's just added to your average. So the more grades you have, the less impact each individual thing will have on your credit score. And the less grades you have, the more impact. Thanks for chapter info. You're welcome, Jessica. Let's see. Shout out to Connecticut chapter. Al. Okay, good to know. How does voluntarily? Oh, I don't know. Some of these questions, I'm like, girl, what are you posting? Y'all just be doing the most asking me about this Atlanta. I told you, they're Atlanta chapters. I told your admins. Your admins have all the Atlanta chapter info. And so when I'm coming to visit y'all this week, they're going to tell you like, we're going to open up more tickets. So don't worry about that. But it'll be posted in the Atlanta chapter groups. So if you're in Atlanta and you're not in Atlanta chapter group, go to livericherchallenge.com, click on DC Dreamcatcher chapters and join a local group. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not Tia
who
asked about the auto financing and getting it under her name. If he has the loan, I'm just not sure why you want the car in your name. Are you trying to get your own car? Because if you want to get your own car, that's different. Yeah, you would just take out a loan and it would be under your own name, but just shop around for different rates first. So
Lisa says, can they garnish you for old debts 10+ years with debt that's in collections?
So when doesn't every wage garnishment have like an agreement on how long they can garnish your wages for?
Yeah. So Lisa, what I'd have to so here's what it is, that if that debt is past the statute of limitations, let's just say, depends what type of debt it is too. But let's just say, for sake of argument, it's credit card debt and you owe them for whatever reason, they were able to garnish your wages. Now, in the state of New Jersey and New York, where me and Mandy live, the statute of limitations on revolving debt is 6 years. That means after 6 years, they don't have legal recourse to do that. So you would have to Google statute of limitations for whatever that type of debt is. So you could, like I said, medical debt, whatever it is in your state. So then past that, they should not be able to garnish. So you would have to get proof that it was past that statute, and that they were illegally garnishing your wages.
Well, the only way they're going to get anywhere near your bank account is if they sue you in court.
Yes, and won.
So you'll know if they're coming for you, and they have to have won. And in that case, just the fact that they've won their lawsuit means that they were able to sue you for that debt.
Yeah, but sometimes though, the bad part is sometimes I've known people who didn't go to court. And they won by default, not because they were on the right, you know?
So that happens a lot. Some people don't even know that they've been sued in court.
Exactly.
Until they get something on their credit report. Another good reason to check your credit report.
Tuki, I like that name. Hey, Tuki Thomas.
I have a cousin named Tuki.
Tuki said, can we really pay off our mortgage in 5 to 7 years?
I don't know, can you?
Tuki, it depends. Like, for example, me and fiance Boo, well, that's your nickname for your fiance Boo, but me and Superman are looking to buy a home in the great city of Newark, New Jersey. Don't y'all say nothing. That's where we live, and we love it. And this is a great neighborhood, but we're looking at a fixer-upper. And honestly, we've seen homes for $150,000. We've seen homes for $99,000 because Newark is coming up. And so if it's $99,000 and $150,000, we can definitely pay that off in 5 to 7 years. If you're getting $1 million home, you know, it depends. So I'll say this, it depends.
Someone had a really good question. Can student loan debt stop me from buying a house?
Good question.
Debt to income ratio, that big of a factor? Yeah, it's
yes.
everything.
It is literally everything.
Literally everything.
Literally.
It's not going to affect you as much as having $100,000 in credit card debt will. Like we talked about the different kinds of debt earlier, but yeah, I mean, your mortgage company, they have to by law, if they're issuing Fannie Freddie loans, they have to follow their underwriting rules, which say that your debt to income ratio has to be under like 36%, is it, or 40%? So it does matter. There is a company, you know, SoFi, actually they offer mortgages now, and there's a couple of others like SoFi that do as well, alternative lending, and they really go after people who have a lot of student loan debt and then feel like they can't qualify for types of loans because of that debt. And for that, you have to have a really amazing credit score. But SoFi is one, like if you're finding you probably won't get approved. SoFi is a company you can go to as well.
Elena, we post, what if I have private student loan that was out the statute, but I didn't know and made the payments? Basically restarting the process. What can I do? Pay them off. Because you started the process again. That's why it's so important that when a debt collector kind of reaches out to you, one, asking them to send you what's called a debt verification letter. Basically just a breakdown of like, how we get here? I owe you how much? Give me a breakdown, because you by law are allowed to ask. First of all, one, how do I know I owe you? Send me a verification letter that just kind of like validates and verifies you owe me because you owed Sears sold it to Bob, Bob sold it to me, and this is how we got to this rate at this bottom here. So before you pay anything, that like if you know you were late on Sprint last month, pay Sprint. Don't ask for no verification letter. Sprint is like, girl. But if it's like a debt that's been a while and you're not sure, one, you can look at your credit report, but also ask for that letter.
And sometimes it may just be a crook, and they may not even have a debt. But
exactly.
And also Macy's sells their debt to all different kinds of random collection agencies. So you may not have any idea where it comes from. So a debt verification letter can at least hopefully show you that chain.
Exactly. So we're just going to take like 1 or 2 more questions. Let's see.
How long does it take to recover after being late several times on a car payment? 6 months or 12 months? Well,
it depends.
How much other stuff's on your report?
Yeah. So let's just say this. Like, let's just say, I'll give you an example. I was never late on anything except for my mortgage. When I lost my job as a teacher, I had to make a decision. Everything else late or mortgage late. So I only had enough for all the rest of my bills or mortgage. And I was like, well, let me be late on this one thing and be on time with everything else. So I was able to recover fairly quickly because my score dropped from an 802 to a 547 because, hello, mortgage late, that's huge, right? But it took me about 1.5 years to bring that 547 or 47 up to a 750 because I only had that one thing that I had to bring back up. So remember, it's really an average. So there's no way to say, oh, it's 6 months, oh, it's 12. It depends. Are you late on everything else? Or are you just late on this one thing? If you're late on that one thing, it can happen sooner than you think. If you have a whole bunch of things you're late on, it's gonna take a long time. What should you?
That's about kids, teaching your kids about it.
About what? Investing?
No, I think, someone asked, how do I improve my teenager's credit score?
Okay.
Before they go to college. So your dad do that for you?
So one of the ways you can do for your teenager is secretly put them on as an authorized user and don't tell their nosy behind, because you don't want to let them know that they have a card they can use. And so if you're responsible and you're using your card responsibly, my dad did that for me. I didn't know. When I got out of college, I had a bomb credit score. I didn't know what a credit score was. He was like, you're welcome, right? And so by the time I bought a house at 25, I had an 802 credit score because one, he taught me how to pay my baby credit card bill off. It was like $30 a month or something in full. Two, he had added me as an authorized user to his card and I didn't know. So we're gonna take one more question. You'd like to know more about income property and would be willing to join the academy. Okay, Shaka. Well, add your suggestion to the link, the Academy class suggestion link
Yeah, I'll take that class too.
Yeah, we're actually like, that was one of the things that they said, people said they wanted to learn. So I'm looking for an instructor for that. So we have a survey, 2-question survey link in the description of this video where you can say what you'd like to learn in the Academy. The Academy will be launching again in February. What was it?
From Tanya King. She says, do you suggest enlisting an outside entity to help negotiate on your behalf?
Ooh, this is a great last question. So there's stuff like bill cutters, right? There's Bill Shark, bill cutters. There are these third-party entities that will go and negotiate on your behalf. And typically they keep about 50%, meaning that bill cutters will say, hey, we negotiate with Verizon to save you $200. You have to pay us $100. That means really when it's all said and done, you saved $100 a month or whatever it is, you know?
I don't like it.
So this is what I say. Negotiate yourself on your behalf. Now, if you negotiate and you can't do anything, then I would say there's nothing wrong with maybe trying that, but only after you've tried it yourself, because sometimes they have relationships that you don't necessarily have because they can kind of relationship in bulk, but you can negotiate yourself.
And sometimes I know, because we wrote about this extensively in Magnify, we just did a whole credit repair and debt settlement firm guide if you go to magnifymoney.com. And sometimes companies will not even work with these third parties, but they won't tell you that. They'll just say, you know, give us your $50 a month, and then we'll go negotiate on your behalf. But you may not realize that Bank of America doesn't even negotiate with these third-party debt settlement or credit repair firms. I don't think it's worth it, honestly. Right. I think you can do it yourself.
Yeah. So with that being said, some of you are saying you don't see the chat. It's like when we're live, I don't think they show you. I see that when we're live, I don't think they show you that the links yet. So we're about to hang up, but in the description of these videos, you're going to find, if you have not signed up for the challenge, you'll find that link, Magnify Money's website link. If you
like
want to
buy on Facebook, Magnify Money.
Right, exactly. Like them. Tell them how great they were to make this challenge free for y'all. So the Live Richer Challenge Credit Edition available on Amazon. It already has hit #1.
I just love that color blue.
I know, right?
It's just so positive.
So cute. So cute. So it's available on Amazon. The link is in the description. But also, like I said, the Live Richer Academy, which is the next level to your financial life. We are launching it soon, next month in February, March. If you're watching this in like October, it should already be open. But we want to know what you want to learn about. It's literally called the Live Richer Academy Class Survey. And it's just a survey. You just click on it. It's 2 questions. I want to know, what do you want to learn about, so we can roll it out. Don't worry, the next couple of weeks we'll be talking about the Academy more, because one thing the students know who are part of the Academy is that we shape it based upon what your needs are. So again, thank you, Magnify Money. I hope you enjoyed the Live Richer Challenge.
Thanks, everybody.
Yes, this has been awesome.
Thank you for being so welcoming.
Yes, you can always take the challenge again and again and again. And we love you. A good financial word, indeed, Donna, on a Sunday.
And if you want more of this,
yes.
Brown Ambition Podcast, Brown Ambition, every Tuesday. Only just tomorrow, and then Tuesday we'll be back.
I know, exactly. All right, y'all. Good night.
It's so nice.
I know, right? It's so nice. All right, and then we're going to finish here.
Oh, I think it's so hot after these.
Yeah.